Are you filming already?
Oh, yeah, you see the red light.
Is that what he's talking about in Roxanne? I thought it was like a warning to the people outside, like an on-air light, like don't walk in here.
It's all red light because your eyes have to adjust the least from red light to darkness. Something like that.
We should start a podcast called Something Like That, where it's like scientific things that we know just enough about to be dangerous.
Aircraft carriers.
Well, at least you know the name of it. Nimitz.
I know this stuff. Nimitz class, which we learned. It's named after a single boat that then becomes a class or something like that.
I have no idea.
Something like that.
There you go. That's the podcast. We had kind of had a game plan going into this. Here, we'll do it all on the ground. But this will be the headboard at some point. It'll sit about like that and be flush on the bottom. So when I modeled everything up, I think I modeled these at like 1.5 inches maybe. And then it turned out I was able to leave them 1 7/8 inches thick after milling. So I ended up with 3/8 of an inch more material than I thought I was gonna have, and I wanna leave it as thick as I can leave it. So in woodworking, I always just leave it as thick as I can leave it. I rarely will just keep milling something like this down once I've got it nice. But now we have like a super big reveal. So the initial thought was to just kind of round this over and ease it into it. But now we would have to do a much bigger round over on it, and I'm afraid it might look funny. So I'm trying to think if that's the way to go or nah.
We're in a situation where I would maybe argue mill it to what we had modeled it.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying. You know, these are the legs for a big bed. You know, you want them to be stout.
Also, so the other thing, and obviously everyone's going to be different slightly when they build it. But we could also just kind of cheat this forward so it's not flush in the back, and then it would look the same as what we had planned it to look like before, but still be thicker. For all we know, the bigger roundover could look cooler.
Yeah, I think a lot of what appeals, at least for me in this bed, is kind of its simplicity, and it's like just really clean looking. So like some of that stuff, I remember at one point you modeled, you know, like the tapered chamfer, and it just kind of was like to put on details just for the sake of details. So stuff like that maybe would be similar to that, but I mean also, I don't know, it could be cool. Does it matter to match it on the nightstand?
Yeah, that's what I was also gonna say, because now you're getting to that point. I think you were planning on just doing more of like a full round.
That's what I initially put on there, just because everything else on the piece is basically a roundover. But a thumbnail would look fine too. But I also know that we've kind of been saying they should match, but they don't need to be.
They don't need to look too matchy. We're gonna lose out on a lot of sales.
Because of that roundover?
Even though they could. I mean, I know I could switch and do whatever roundover I want, but they didn't, so that's a no for me, dog.
That's gonna be a no from me. I'm willing to offer $5,000 for 100% of your company.
We can't wait to work with you, Mark.
If you had to go on Shark Tank in 5 minutes, what's your pitch?
I'd be real vague and make them come up with the idea, but it would be something about how like the common man loves working with their hands, but it's something that we're not getting anymore, sitting at our cubicles and our desks all day. So what I propose, now stop me if you know where I'm going.
Kind of in the same vein, I would come out and maybe they give you 10 minutes to pitch, and I would spend the first 9 kind of going like, all right, everybody, are you spending too much time at your desk? Are you, Mark? Are you, Mr. Wonderful? And they go, that's right.
Bang my stick. Even though I will say, actually, beds are kind of easy. So far, I don't want to jinx myself. I'm still not that deep into it. Like yesterday, I got all the rails and headboard like ready to go, and when I was leaving and setting them all up there, I was like, this is basically the work I would do to put a tabletop together, and I haven't even glued it. I wouldn't even have glued it together. I don't even need to do that. Yeah. It's just you need space. I think that's why, like, I think big is intimidating because you're like, how am I going to cut this huge thing? And
yeah, space and just the cost. There's a lot of material in it.
Yeah, it costs
$10,000.
$10,000 in materials.
Yeah.
No, like $700 of materials minimum.
Yeah, what was the
A
total?
1,000 for-
I can't even remember what.
It was like 1,080 or something like that
Just
for
over $1,000.
for 2 nightstands, this, and we'll have a decent amount left over. Anybody that's thinking about building this wouldn't be like, should I build this or should I buy $300 worth
Yeah.
of IKEA furniture?
People buy tools and do this is not necessarily to save money.
No, it would be a bad way to save money.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless you were like, I have very expensive furniture taste and I'm gonna build everything.
Yeah, or you have a wood shop set up because some other circumstances
Oh
or
yeah, so
something.
it's like a byproduct.
Yeah,
I can build
or
my own
Or
furniture.
you go, oh, yeah.
And even so, like buying a custom bed would cost, a custom bed and 2 nightstands would cost $5,000, $6,000 bucks minimum. All right, I'm gonna go model up some stuff and then we'll reconvene. Let's do one of these. Oh, hang on. Hey, we're in the office now. Look at that. Shaun, how's that granola bar?
Cheers.
So that one's got the old flush setback. This one's got the not flush setback. So the only difference is I would put a little round over here.
Yeah.
I do like the thumbnail profile. That seems nice. Mm-hmm. It's probably the way to go. I think it just adds a little bit of depth.
What?
Having it inset a little bit. So this one?
Yeah. Inset from the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like, it doesn't really matter, but it adds a little depth here compared to
Yeah, and I think
being
this
like
is
that.
just, I think our initial reaction when we saw it out there of going like, whoa, that's really far, is, I think that was accurate. Like we had the right feeling of, I think that's too much.
Okay. So then, it would look like that.
Yeah.
If you were like just focusing on that detail versus this. Oh, I also did that, which I don't like.
Yeah.
Let's get that out of here, huh? You're dead to us. Also, it gives a little margin for error, I guess, in not having to make this perfectly flush. And then same thumbnail profile here. And then just hand break the inside edges. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is still a nice sharp thing for people to kick, so we got that going for us. We can maintain the comment. It's too low, really, for a shin buster, so that's nice. It'll be a toe catch. Mm-hmm. I think we're done. I'm gonna go actually do it now.
I'm still hungry.
So the gnarly granola Shaun banana diet.
We should start a little like healthy snack.
Dating service? Yeah, that's what we should.
Work a date.
Oh,
God.
It's just all dudes. Dating app might be one of the hardest markets to break into.
Yeah, we're not gonna do it. I'm just trying to name one for somebody else to do. How about just Mortise and Tenons? Is a good dating app name for.
Yeah. It's also a woodworking magazine.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Magazines that were really big in the day of magazines that have now switched to kind of quarterly books.
Almanac.
Yeah, they're like really nice, and like really nice layout, and you could like put it on your coffee table. And
It's like having a set of encyclopedias.
yeah, I think Mortise and Tenons did that.
Or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I could be 100% wrong.
Yeah. That's probably a good ending.
I feel like anything we say, I
could
could
be a good
I could
ending.
even say, my name's Shaun Boyd. That could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah. All I know is what my parents told me.
Yeah.
It's actually Shawnee.
Shaun E. Boyd. Shaun Ezra Boyd.
Which we learned. Which we learned. Which we learned.